guys, welcome to another episode of Crown Conversations. I am your girl, Chanel, and today I have a new friend of mine. Her name is Jamie Rutherford, and we're going to be talking to her about how DSP life has been for her. So let's get into it. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Chanel. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. I want to say that when I first met you, you were so nice, so welcoming, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I love her. Like, it's just something about you, your spirit, even when you talk, it's just like so calming. So I just want to tell you, I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but I just want to tell you that that's how you made me feel, and I love that about you.
Thank you. Well, we talked about this.
Yes.
That's probably stemming from a basic principle I learned in the Marine Corps, which is that whenever you go into a room, a Marine's duty is to make sure that everyone in that room feels safer. So when I became a civilian, it was just like, what can I do above and beyond that?
Yeah.
And my goal was to also impart a sense of peace and calmness to everyone I meet. And so, that's what I carry with me every time I go into a room.
Yes, I love that, and that's exactly how you made me feel. So
Very good. It's working.
Yes. So I want to talk to you. First of all, your DSP has been going for about 5 years, and tell me the name of it again.
It's called Think All In LLC. And that really stems from a very influential mentor that I had.
Okay.
His name is Peter D. Kaufman.
Okay.
So he is very good friends with both Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger.
Okay.
He owns Glen Air. Well, he's basically running Glen Air, an
Okay.
aerospace engineering company in Glendale, Los Angeles area.
Okay.
And one of the principles he taught us was when you go in above and beyond and care for your employees, they go all in for you. And when everyone is all in, normal limits cease to apply. You can do impossible things.
Right.
And of course, he gave us many, many examples of things that shouldn't be successful,
Yeah.
but they ended up somehow making it because everyone's mindset was that of thinking all in.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And I also, I love that being a DSP has really opened doors for us, right? It's opened doors. It has done things for us that maybe we wouldn't have been able to do before. But I want to know, what were you doing before you became a DSP? You just told us you were in the Marines, but was that it? Was just like, I'm in the Marines, I'm going to get out, now what am I going to do? Was that how the journey came about to being a DSP, or no?
It was a long journey. I was in the Marine Corps, just like you said. I commissioned as an officer in 2010.
Okay.
And I spent 3 years of active duty. I was basically the attorney for the base.
Okay.
So I was what they call a judge advocate.
Ah.
And you get to do all sorts of law.
Okay.
I was doing environmental law, like what's going to happen to the red cockaded woodpecker if we build a building on this, plot of land.
Yes.
Or criminal law, wills, trusts, separation agreements, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But all the things that are part and parcel with the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I loved it because every day was different. And as a young lieutenant, you're able to touch cases that you wouldn't have in 20 years in the civilian legal world. So that was just an amazing experience. I worked on war crimes cases,
Wow.
murders, rapes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was the whole gamut of things. So after, I started to get the itch.
Okay.
And you start to get the feeling like the people that are telling you what to do. I know because your husband's been in the
Yes.
military.
Yes.
The people that are telling you what to do, you're just like, I think I'm smarter than you.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And so you think, okay, what can I do for myself?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't. I'm at the point where I don't need to take any orders anymore. I can go off on my own and do my own thing and have
Yeah.
the freedom.
Yeah.
When you're as disciplined as that, it helps you to develop really great habits, but then also you long for the freedom that other people have to just sleep in or we even had to get permission to get a job outside of work if we wanted to learn more about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to think about the transition. And in 2014, I was just reading books and books and books about like, okay, what is there? I've always wanted to own my own business. What can I do outside of the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
And so at that same year, the founder of Chick-fil-A had passed away, Truett Cathy. So there were all these articles about him.
Okay.
And I was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina.
Nice. That's where I'm from.
Oh, really?
I'm from North
Cool.
Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But there were all these articles about him, about this great company. And I had never heard of Chick-fil-A, being from California.
Right.
We didn't really have many back then.
Yeah.
But once I read his story, learned about the business and how it developed, I was like, I gotta try. Like, I can't work for any other company.
Right.
And I also thought there was a certain level of confidence.
Yeah.
If they don't want me, I have no idea what they want.
Right.
Because, you know, lawyer, MBA,
Yes.
JD, I'll work hard for you, Marine.
Yes.
And so it took about 2 years. I applied. I believe they had about 35 to 50,000 applications.
Wow.
And they were opening 87 stores that year.
Oh my goodness.
And I happened to, go to interview after interview in Atlanta. The first location that became available, they said, no, we've got actually a better candidate, so we're going to keep you on the bench.
Okay.
But you will have an opportunity to apply for a different location.
Okay.
And that second location in Auburn, California, is the one that I ended up getting.
Wow.
Yeah. And that grand opened 2016, so in September of 2016.
Oh my goodness. So you've had that location for a long time. Okay, my math ain't
Yeah.
nothing, but it's been a while. That's a long time.
I mean, the years pass really fast. I say
Yeah.
8 years, but it might as well be 10.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a very, marked accomplishment for us to have that business for 10 years.
Yes, that's awesome, Jamie. So unlike others, Chick-fil-A was your first business, and now DSP is after that. Right?
So I actually, while I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps as well in 2015, so the year before I was able to start the Chick-fil-A, I had a logistics company with FedEx, which we had, ground routes. And I believe we had about 12 in Pamplico, South Carolina. Okay. And so we were already in the logistics field.
Okay.
And I had some background and experience. I was pretty much a silent partner. So I contributed a ton of capital, but I knew what was going on with the business.
Yeah.
So the Chick-fil-A opportunity actually got back to me first before the DSP came along.
Okay.
But when I saw the DSP, actually, what happened was my brother recommended it to me because he says, hey, this sounds a lot like Chick-fil-A. And, we're always trying to grow and expand our business. We're already in logistics.
Yes.
And we decided to add that to our plate because it was very similar along the lines of what we're already doing.
Okay, so your brother is who told you about the DSP.
That's right. Yeah, in 2018, there was a lot of fanfare, a lot of articles.
Yes.
And they were also heavily recruiting military.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know, I don't know if your husband got this, but we were given a $10,000 bonus.
Yes.
To start that company.
Yes.
And it's very similar, like with Chick-fil-A, the cost of entry is just so low because they want to cast such a wide net.
Yeah.
And whoever is qualified, just with your mind, with your heart, they're able to do it versus other franchises where maybe you have to have a net worth of 500,000 or a million. You have to commit to 5 locations or what have you. Chick-fil-A and Amazon just made it so easy to get to day one that it was basically a no-brainer that could change your life. Yeah. So there was a lot of risk and the other way. A lot of reward. Yeah. Very little risk. Yeah. and that's really what all business is. Yeah. It's, you're providing value and you're looking for that imbalance of it's a ton of reward but
Yeah.
very little risk.
Right. I love that. I love that. Okay. Okay. So this is the part where I'm excited to talk to different DSP owners, right? Because everybody's path is so different.
Sure.
So
of course.
I love that. I love that, everybody's bringing something different to the show. So that's awesome. Now, because we've talked about all these different things you have going on, how do you manage all these things, Jamie? Like, I know you're married. Shout out to your husband. What is his name? Daniel. Hi, Daniel. So shout out to Daniel, because I'm pretty sure he's a big part of everything.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that he sort of took the back seat and supported me on, which enabled me to do all these great things.
Awesome. I love that. And so tell me, how do you guys tackle the day-to-day? How do you tackle this business, that business? How do you guys kind of manage your time? Because I know you are expecting now. Jamie's expecting everybody. So congratulations to you on that.
And I hope to be expecting every year for like the next 4 years.
Yeah, do you really, Jamie? Are you joking?
We want a big family. I don't know if it's going to be the next 4 years, but this will be our second kid, in a subsequent year. So
yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I can't believe I was not expecting you to say that.
Just a big happy family is all we want.
Jamie said 4 kids or more kids, right?
Exactly.
Every 4 years. Okay. So how do you do that? Like what do you do to kind of keep the day to day going? Because you're a mom.
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to be a mom of 2. You're married. So then you have a marriage, right? That you have to nurture.
Yes.
And so how do you do all these things?
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I won't beat around the bush on that.
Yeah.
When you start a business, and I remember, in a previous podcast of yours, the business owners were saying the same thing. It's got to be your baby first when you're starting out.
Yes.
And with the Chick-fil-A, with the DSP, it was 100-hour weeks to start off. And I didn't have children then, but that was the time that it required. Mm. And, I had a mentor in the Marine Corps that said, if you have to work 16 hours a day, then how dare you, relax and not work 16 hours a day. But when it is your time to relax and be with your family, how dare you stay at work late to 7, 8 p.m. and miss dinner. Right. So there's a season for everything. There's a time to work hard, and then there's a time to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
A lot of the way that we manage our business is basically lessons that that are time honored from 200 years of military history.
Okay.
I don't do everything myself. I am not even the best person to do everything, either in my Chick-fil-A or at the DSP.
Yeah.
And how the Marine Corps runs, and probably any military unit, is you can have probably about 5 to 6 subordinates that you truly mentor and teach everything to, and they grow up with you in terms of understanding leadership. And then they, in turn, get to affect the lives of 5 or 6 people under them. And that is how leadership carries on. Yeah. I don't personally talk to 200 employees. Yeah. That would be awesome. Yeah. But sometimes there's not enough time in the day
to do it. Yeah.
And there's good and bad. You want them to have access to you, but you don't want them to have so much access that they are coming to you for even the smallest thing. Yes. And so another tenet that we've got from the Marine Corps is Commander's Critical Information Requirements, so called CCIRs. Okay, so I tell them, hey, you guys can handle a lot if things. Yeah. You're very smart.
Yes.
But if there's grievous bodily injury, someone loses an eye, I need to know about it immediately. Yeah. If there is sexual harassment, immediately. Yeah. A death, or the police have been called, or I'm at risk of a lawsuit. Yeah. So these are critical information requirements, and I need to know.
Yes.
After about maybe 3 to 5 years of training, most of your leaders can handle everything under the sun if you've just taken them alongside you and said, say, this is how X, Y, and Z is done. And so by the time that you get to the place where I am at in both businesses, there's very little that they need from you except encouragement, which
Yeah.
we do once a week at our team meetings.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, now I know Amazon has the road to ownership.
Yes.
How has that went for? Has anybody in your organization?
I have submitted applications.
Okay.
And one of my, and I'll back up. That is something that I always encourage all of my leaders to apply for.
Yeah.
And I will nominate them. And if they're not ready, I tell them, you're not ready. I need 1 year with you, because
Okay.
you don't know about fleet. You don't know about HR, you don't know about regulations and compliance. And then
Yeah.
I will handhold them and take them through the business.
Nice.
It's something that I would have wanted to have, and something that other people have done for me.
Right.
And another thing that we've learned from the Marine Corps, it's a teaching organization. It's a
Yeah.
learning organization.
Yeah.
So every day they come to work, they should be a little bit better than the day before. And I always set that as the goal for people, because I tell them, hey, look, guys, working for people, it's comfortable, it's nice. But one day you might want to stop trading your time for money, because there's only a certain amount of time. And, towards the end of your life, you want to spend it with your kids, traveling,
Yeah.
or, learning, or doing whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a point in time where you're going to be like, no, I don't want to give 30 minutes to that. I want to
Yeah.
do what I want to do.
Right.
And you won't be able to do that if you have, most of the time, if you have a traditional job.
Right.
So with Road to Ownership, it's a program for your listeners, if they don't know,
Yes.
for a employee of Amazon, an Amazon DSP, to be nominated to own their own DSP company.
Yes.
And so I've nominated my basically scorecard performance manager.
Okay.
And he's gone through the whole class,
Okay.
graduated, and he's at the point where he's presenting to be able to earn his own spot. I
Nice.
believe in Lubbock, Texas.
I love that. That's so awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't believe I've come across anyone yet that, and maybe I haven't, didn't know. I'll say that. Maybe I have and I didn't know that somebody has actually did the road to ownership and actually got their DSP. And like I said, I might not have just asked the right questions or whatever, but that's awesome that that he's moving along in that. I love that.
Because encouraging young leaders, again, from the Marine Corps, it's how you build and create the future.
Yeah.
And if you're unsatisfied with how things are going, all it takes is for you to take a youngster under your wing and be like, hey, this is my vision of the future. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And if you do, let me show you all the, tricks of the trade, so to speak.
Awesome. So tell me, if I'm coming to you and I'm interested in becoming a DSP, and I heard about it, I've seen people do so well, what advice would you give me? Because I know there's steps, because it's not just filling out an application and Amazon is calling you up like, hey, yeah, come on, it's not like that. It's steps, it's interviews, is it's the financial part, the back end, it's your credit, is it's a lot of different things that go into it. But now that you've been a DSP for a while, like what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about it?
Yeah, I would say that every entrepreneur has some sort of itch that cannot be fulfilled by things they've been doing in the past.
Yeah.
They want to create their own culture, and be in charge of their earnings and future. And so at the very first step, you have to know that you are the type of person that has a mission.
Yeah.
Because you can hire someone and they want to do a good job, but maybe it's a stepping stone for their next opportunity.
Yeah.
And it won't be a stepping stone in the beginning, because maybe you're not making money, maybe you're just working and you don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to withstand periods like that. And so first is the entrepreneurship bug.
Yeah.
Is that you want to be able to work for yourself, and you like competing, and you have a mindset of, oh, if we just switch this thing up, we can do a little bit better.
Yeah.
Then you have to have the fluidity to talk about business concepts. What I see with my leaders too is there's a lot of emotion, and emotion is great. It'll carry you a long way.
Yeah.
But Amazon is a data company.
Yeah.
They want you to support. I mean, we get evaluated as DSPs by how well we use the data to be able to improve our businesses.
Right.
And so many times in our team meetings, our leaders will talk about like, oh, I feel this certain way about, the morale of the company, or I feel this certain way about these incentives and bonuses.
Yeah.
And I say, where's the data? What does the data show? If we have 100% retention, I think the morale is just fine, and you don't need to mess with it.
Right.
And so I'll always come back with that. It's just like, that's good that you feel that way.
Yeah.
But then again, what data supports that?
Yeah.
So you have to have basically you have to wear multiple hats and be like, okay, this one helps me with my interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
This person's having a bad day, but I can tell them like, oh, for today while you're working, I'm going to help you turn it around.
Yeah.
Or this is how we're going to approach today.
Yeah.
And then you need to have the data, which is just like, okay, if my numbers aren't good, I won't make any money and we won't be in business anymore.
Yeah.
And they want you to know that you can the next day be put in that seat and know what to do. Right. And so that was one of the big things for my Road to Ownership leader that I nominated.
Yeah.
Is that one of the questions they asked him is, if you were to get your own DSP, what would you do tomorrow? What would you do?
Yeah.
And you would just have to know, well, I need to get a Department of Transportation number.
Yeah.
I need to open up a business bank account. I need to establish an LLC or a corporation or however what you want to organize.
Yeah.
I need to post a hiring ad on Indeed.
Yeah.
I need to talk to an accountant and figure out how to keep my books. So there's a whole cascade of things that you need to think about, and it's not just a singular thing.
Right.
This is why business is so complex, but it's also why it's so fun.
Yeah.
Because every day is different and it's very multifaceted.
Yeah.
And then when you get bigger, different people can handle the stuff that you're maybe not quite so good at.
Yes. I like that. I find that I have come in contact with a lot of different people who want to become DSPs, right? And it's almost like you can lead them.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, oh, I want a Chick-fil-A or I want a DSP.
Yeah.
And I will sit them down and I was like, great, here's where I applied online. Right. I'm going to look over your shoulder and watch you do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I can do it later. Or,
yeah.
It's just like I don't know what the question is. I think they half expected you to be like, let me do everything for you.
Right.
And then you could just have the money.
Yeah.
Which will never happen.
Right.
And, and I've talked to my leaders about this too. They'll be like, okay, I want more money. I'm like, okay, let's show how you added more value and can you do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And I have to tell them, hey, sorry guys, making money is hard.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And just like what you said, I think, people are expecting you to do it for them. But like I tell a lot of people, I'm like, hey, listen, we can help you with the questions.
Yep.
But you then have to go before them on your own. You then have to interview in person. You then have to interview to the computer. And I mean, I can't do anything with you with that. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to sell yourself. But I think a lot of people, like I say, get caught up in the glitz and the glam because some people,
they want the end result.
Yes, but they don't understand all the stuff that we go through to be able to enjoy, like you said, the fruits of your labor, to be able to enjoy that. It's a lot. So I definitely want to talk about like how do you enjoy the fruits of your labor? Like, do you guys go trip? Do you take trips? Well, I know Rochelle and Shannon were saying they use Uber Eats all the time, and that's where all their money goes.
Actually, yeah, I saw that episode, and I definitely identify with that. There's a lot of things that we enjoy. And I always say everyone's got their thing. And
yes.
you don't need to judge. Like
Yes.
my mom will go to Hawaii and buy a $10,000 Chanel purse.
Yes.
And
Okay, Mom.
here's a tip. It's only 4% sales tax in Hawaii. That's why she does it.
Oh.
And then even cheaper if you go to Europe. So that's another, quick tip.
Okay, Mom.
But anyways,
I'm coming to hang out
yeah,
with Mom,
exactly.
'cause
Yeah,
she knows how to shop. Okay.
Every house that she has
Yeah.
has her own purse room.
Really?
So that's her thing.
Yeah.
And for me, that's frivolous.
Okay.
That I would never do that.
Right.
Like I would just get like a plastic bag or like a
Yeah.
reusable shopping bag, and like that carries your stuff.
Right.
That fulfills the utility. That's the
Yeah.
Marine Corps in me.
Yes.
But because we own the Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
we do try a lot of food.
Okay.
And it runs the whole gamut. I will try every spicy chicken sandwich that I come across because I
Really?
want to compare it to how we're doing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, nothing beats a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich. It's very
Yes.
good.
It's so good.
I haven't had anything from the high-end restaurants to the low that beats that.
Yeah.
But you talk about our thing,
Yeah.
and we like to visit a lot of Michelin star restaurants.
Okay.
And there's a list, of the 50 best restaurants in the world.
Okay.
And so anytime we visit a place, we just tick off like, oh, okay, we went to the 5th best restaurant. We went to, and it could range from 1 to 3 Michelin stars, but it's just, for any listener, it's just assigning a level of quality to the service and the food and the artistry, basically.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then, with that goes a lot of traveling. When I was in college, I studied abroad in Italy, lived there for a year. And so every weekend we'd go to a different country. And, truly blessed life.
Yeah.
Because it's just so cheap there. If you fly Ryanair or EasyJet.
Yeah.
Like we flew to Barcelona for 59 cents.
What?
Yeah. And it's one of the deep discount airlines where you have to pay extra for
Okay.
choosing a seat. You have to pay extra for bringing luggage.
Okay.
But if you had nothing, like I did
Yeah.
in college, you could pay 59 cents and,
Right,
and be
why
in
not?
Barcelona for the weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So that's been awesome. Like
is
Shannon
awesome.
and Rochelle, we go to Hawaii a lot.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like there's nothing I'm allergic to there.
Yeah.
Like in Texas, it's like anything green that grows
Yeah.
will stuff up my nose.
Really?
And same in California.
Yeah.
Anything green that grows will make me blow up and
Oh my goodness.
cry like allergy tears.
Yes.
So there's a certain level of calmness I feel in Hawaii. Like, oh, these people look like me. I'm probably supposed to be here. Like these plants are okay for me. And so, that's kind of like where I relax and find my center again.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That is so funny. Well, I tell you what, these allergies here in Texas
Exactly.
be whooping up on you, girl.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
like, what is it?
so much pollen.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Like, who is living here? It's so bad. It's so bad. Well, that's awesome. I know about the Michelin star restaurants because my sister lives in New York. And
oh yeah, there's a ton of them over there. Yeah.
Yes, and I didn't realize like it's a thing. Like it's hard to get into some of them. Like as far as
some of them just because they've got a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
Like for there's one restaurant by Thomas Keller in Napa called the
Okay.
French Laundry, and it took us maybe a year to get reservations there, and we went on a Tuesday night because I think someone just canceled.
Wow.
And we swooped in, but it was like a 12-course meal. The portions are like this big, but like after 12 of them, you're like, okay, I'm like
full.
more than full.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful because the dessert came and
Yeah.
they were just like, what would you like for dessert?
Yeah.
So we just we're like donuts.
Right.
And they made us donuts.
Oh
so,
my goodness.
So when you get to that level of, customization
Yeah.
and quality, you're just like, oh, this is a treat.
That is
And
awesome.
so, we light up about food, just having owned a restaurant and
Right.
been in that restaurant world.
Yeah, that is amazing. You are like you said, I want donuts, and they wouldn't make
Yeah,
them. That is
yeah.
awesome. Like, where are you going? Where that happens?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's good. And so, back to being married, and being in this busy entrepreneurial world. Like, how do you and your husband make time for one another? Like, how do you guys kind of connect and kind of step back and have those managers, do their thing while you guys like enjoy time together. Like, what do you guys do together?
I mean, I wouldn't say we're perfect at it. That
Okay.
is something that we always try to work on.
Yes.
And there's some things that, for example, he's a football fanatic.
Yes.
And so I've gotten into football. I've learned about the stats. I know which
Yeah.
quarterbacks suck.
Yeah.
And we just,
Yes.
we just do a screenshot of all the games that are playing from ESPN.
Yeah.
And then we circle, like, who do we think is going to win? And we
Yeah.
bet each other something, like
Okay.
dinner, or like you have to watch what movie I'm watching. And, one
Yes.
time it was horrible. I had to watch an hour of like extraterrestrials on a farm because that's what he's interested in, and because I lost the bet.
Yeah.
And so it's just fun stuff like that. We play
Yeah.
a lot of games
Okay.
just because we want it to be quiet, and so
Yeah.
we'll play cards at home.
Yeah.
Or there's another game that we have. The guy that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki, he
Yeah.
has a game called Rat Race, or like something to do with cash flow quadrant.
Okay.
And it's basically like you go around the wheel and then you learn how to invest in properties by playing the game. Yeah, so sometimes we play that. It's always business oriented because we get a
Yeah.
kick out of it.
Right.
But yeah, we'll watch movies together. We'll go for walks with our son, at sunset.
Yeah.
Just to kind of wind down. But yeah, it's definitely something we could improve upon with both of us being so busy.
Yes, it is. It's definitely hard, and I think about that with DSP owners, and for me and my husband, it's always been a focus, like
Yeah.
to make sure that yes, you're making sure the kids are good, right? But you got to make sure we're good too,
Right.
You know what I mean? So is a hard, is a struggle, but you make time to do it. So
Exactly.
I love that, and I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
The football.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Rodney is a football fanatic.
There you go.
Yes, and we bet quite, but we bet money.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be like, let's switch it up. Maybe we should do dinner or
Or like a massage.
or something,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because that would be fun. I
Yeah.
think that's fun. So yeah, you gave me something to
Yeah, and
try.
another thing that we did is, when I had my first child in February of this past year, before that happened, I told Daniel, like, he's a very avid fly fisherman.
Okay.
I said, you will go on every trip that you want to go on in the year leading up to our son's birth, because when he is born, we are all yours. Like,
Yes.
this is your responsibility.
Yes.
So, we went fly fishing together on the Snake River in Jackson, Wyoming,
Wow.
Montana, Alaska. We flew over Clark National Park and, went to untouched waters and
Yeah.
caught a bunch of grayling. And so just wild adventures, Idaho, things like that. Some of the best fishing in the world.
Yeah.
And, that's something that, like I said, there's a season for everything.
Yeah.
And if it's your time to enjoy, you better enjoy it. It's your
yeah.
duty.
Yeah.
But when it's time to work, you better work. That's
Yeah.
your duty.
Yes. Oh man, that's awesome. And you're talking about for your first son, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice. And you're having a boy this time?
Another boy. Yeah.
Another
So I'm
boy!
totally outnumbered.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully there's a girl in our future.
Well, Jamie,
but-
you said a baby for the next 4
Exactly.
years. So
Yeah.
if you ain't
Yeah.
having a girl,
the odds are good.
yes, they really are. I'm like, everybody kept asking, "Are you going to try for a boy?" I'm like, "No, I am done. I am done." But yes, I have my two girls, and girls are fun. But boys
That's
are easy.
amazing.
Boys
Yeah.
are easy.
No, we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
Well, I at least am looking forward to girls.
To girls, okay, but yours, but
But
your
we have
husband
boys.
is like, yeah,
Exactly.
these boys, yeah.
Right.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Jamie,
My pleasure.
for being on here and taking the time out to come. I know you're busy, and with DSP and Chick-fil-A and the mom and expecting and all of that good stuff. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come out here and be on the show with me.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Yes, and if somebody wants to listen, I really like Jamie. I would love to be a part of her team, or join her organization, or be a driver for her. Like, where can they go? What do they do?
You can go on Indeed for our Amazon DSP. Think All In LLC.
Okay.
Is what you would search under.
Okay.
And then for our Chick-fil-A, it's Chick-fil-A Auburn Gold Rush in Auburn, California.
In Auburn, California. Okay, guys, you got some options. We got options for you over here. Yes. So again, thank you so much, Jamie, for being part of the show.
My pleasure.
And hey, guys, thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next one.